Hello, good crowd. I am thrilled today to be able to bring you Sandra Rey. She's the founder and CEO of Glowee. She's got the coolest lighting company you have ever seen. You don't want to miss this episode.
Welcome to the Your Mark on the World show with your champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
Sandra, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're thrilled to have you. I know people are going to have trouble even believing what you're doing, but tell them what you're doing with Glowee.
Okay, so at Glowee, we are using a phenomenon that is called bioluminescence, which is basically the ability that have fireflies, glowworms, and also more than 80% of marine organisms to produce light naturally. So we use this kind of superpowers to actually create a biosource and biodegradable lighting system.
It's so fascinating, and it's just beautiful what you're creating. Maybe I'll ask you to send me some photos that we can use in the video with your permission, and so we can show people how cool this looks. But it really is a very sort of iridescent light that is very subtle. But how did you first think of using this bioluminescence to actually light buildings?
Well, I was a design student. I was participating to a design contest, and the theme was biology. And so I looked up a lot of subjects, and I saw this video on YouTube about deep ocean creatures. And well, basically everybody knows that bioluminescence exists without knowing what it is, but everybody knows fireflies. So when I saw this and I was thinking about how to create a project around it, I was like, okay, these little fish are able to create natural light, and lighting today is an issue for a lot of reasons, an environmental issue mainly. So why not just, if you have biology techniques to just copy what nature is doing best, why not just do the same and create products around that? So that started like that.
Well, it's a brilliant idea, quite literally. As you think about lighting, it is a big impact on our environment, a big impact on climate change. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned as you've researched this.
Yeah, well, the problem is kind of global because basically lighting is a universal need. So we cannot just switch off all the lights. It's just our society are based on lighting. So the main problem is around production and end of life, because today we have LEDs that basically consume not that much electricity, even if they do consume some, but producing some systems like that use natural resources. They are polluting a lot in the extraction processes, in the transformation processes, in the distribution processes. And then at the end of life, you have this waste that is created that basically nobody knows how to recycle. So the idea behind that was not just to look about the conception phase, but to really rethink the whole value chain of lighting through production until end of life, thanks to a living material that is basically made of microorganisms.
So tell us a little bit about how you make your bioluminescent products. How does this work?
So the first thing has been to basically find the best bacteria, because we're talking about bacteria, so marine bacteria that can produce light. Then what we do is that we improve the performances of this bacteria in our lab. And we also work on the best conditions for them to produce the best light. And when we have all that, we put that into a product that will help them keep growing and growing. So they are still alive in the system, and they need to be alive to basically produce the light. And so the system regulates the growth of the bacteria. And so at the end, we have this unlimitedly glowing system. It's
fascinating. It will last indefinitely, right?
Sorry?
It will last indefinitely. It won't run out, right?
It's living, so you need to feed the system. But so that's also why we're rethinking the whole processes of lighting, not just the production, but also the way people illuminate, and cities will be illuminated tomorrow. But as soon as you feed them and you maintain the system, then it will produce light.
Interesting, interesting. So how often do you need to feed your lights?
Well, it depends on a lot of things. It depends on the volume you can put upfront to feed the system. It depends also on the bacteria. It evolves very quickly. We've divided by 7 the conception of the bacteria in the past 12 months. So basically the goal for us is to feed them as the less possible. So yeah, it depends on the volume. It depends on a lot of things.
Yeah. Now, as you've been working on this, have you been able to brighten, to increase the lumens you can create with the bioluminescence?
Yes, a lot. When we started, it was we needed around 10 to 15 minutes in total darkness to actually try to see the light. And you needed to be very convinced that there was light. And I was. But we've kind of increased around 200 times more now, 50 times more in the past 12 months. So, and we know that there is still a lot of potential. There is a lot of techniques where we can improve light. And it's just about the biological side, but you can also then use optic techniques to increase the intensity. So we know that the potential is still huge. And the progress that we've made in the past 5 years has also been huge.
Interesting. Now, are you able to use the light as a primary indoor lighting source for, safely navigating a room or for reading yet?
Well, no, that's not really the uses that we're targeting. Bioluminescence will never replace the light in your kitchen, for example. What we have figured out in the environmental industry is that basically we cannot find a radical solution for every problem. And we do think that you need the best source of energy for the best use. And this mix of energy will actually have an impact. So for instance, will be perfect in some uses, like for example, in cities for giving visibilities on street furniture, on parks and gardens, on buildings, on the ground. But sometimes the best solution will just be a solar panel and a LED. But the thing is just to find where we can replace it and where it can have a positive impact.
Describe some of the uses that you think are best in a bit more detail for us.
Well, for sure, the goal for us is to go in cities because this is where we're going to have we're going to be the most impactful, both in terms of environment and economically speaking. So this is for sure the goal, to really put that light outdoor. And we also think that today cities are over enlightened. And we don't really know why we use that much light. It's not even about security. Nothing proves a link between light and security. So for example, the fact that there is cars everywhere forced us to put a lot of light, very aggressive lighting systems. But now that a lot of cities are trying to put cars away, there's new ways of thinking around that. So the goal for us is to really target cities. But for example, today we sell to installations to hotels and spas, because this light not just has environmental benefits, but it's also very relaxing for a lot of different reasons. So we design a relaxation room that we display today as an experience in hotels and spas.
Are you able to turn your bioluminescence on and off?
Yeah. Well, there's several ways to do that. The main way is that the biochemical reaction needs oxygen to produce the photons and have the light. So there is like kind of an airflow in the system. So if there's no air anymore, then there is no light anymore. And the bacteria are okay, but just there is no light produced. So this is one of the ways we can use to switch on and off.
Interesting. It's a fascinating idea. Tell us a little bit about your partnership with the Unreasonable Group. What does that entail?
What I did with Unreasonable Group was their impact program, which is basically 2 weeks of things that you cannot really describe if you're not living. You're with 10 other amazing entrepreneurs in an amazing house in the middle of the countryside, where you meet and you live with amazing entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, investors, mentors, very inspiring people. So these 2 weeks have been just amazing. And as a CEO, we are not kind of used to take this time off, like go away for 2 weeks, not being able to work with the company and just focus on us as CEOs and what is our role. has been just an amazing experience, and the network that it created is just really great.
So did you get any investment out of that opportunity?
Not directly, but for sure it brought a lot of people, a lot of opportunities. They're in partnership with Barclays, and I'm still working with Barclays on some projects. So I'm sure that someday there is going to be the result also in terms of investment.
Excellent, excellent. You have raised some money. Tell us a little bit about your success in raising money.
Well, so far we have gathered around, we're closing around right now. So now it's around 3.5 million euros in total. We have a bit more than 1/3 of our money that is from equity, and the main part is from equity crowdfunding, which means that there is basically now around 800 people, private individuals, who invested in the company, which is great because as we have a very disrupting project, to be able to gather some people that are convinced is very, very important, definitely. So main part of that, and then we have business angels, we have European institutions, and then we've been helped a lot by friends in terms of studies. So yeah. Excellent,
excellent. Well, what are you most proud of having accomplished so far, Sandra?
Well, that's a good question. I guess being still here after 5 years, having started as a student designer, running now a biotech company, and being able to, I think now have enough credibility to have gathered a great team and great projects and great clients. I think definitely being here after 5 years is my best success so far.
Excellent. And you've already been recognized as a Forbes 30 under 30 leader, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, as you've been working through this, what's the most important lesson you've learned about entrepreneurship?
Well, I think it's to keep the passion going. Being an entrepreneur is really, really hard. It's not big news that I'm telling here, but that's just very hard. And I think sometimes at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, 99% of what I did was just crap, but I'm still happy. So, and I still want to get up the next morning. And I think the only thing is about passion. And I don't even see how you can manage a company without keeping this passion going. So I think it's just entertaining this passion go.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Sandra, why was this work important to you? We talked a little bit about the kernel. You were working in a competition and you wanted to think of some way to use biology, right? And that was kind of the nexus, but you've obviously committed a lot more time and energy to this. Why was it so important for you personally to tackle this problem?
Yeah, well, that's a good question because I don't think I was like someone that was very into environmental things before starting this adventure. I think I was just a designer, wanted to solve problems. That was basically the basic. And for me, problems have to have a social, societal, environmental impact. That's how I define problems. And so when I started, I just realized that the traction was amazing around even the student project. And basically, all of the people that I met convinced me that there was really something that I should pursue and that it was my new mission. And since then, when I see people reacting on the project and see all the product that comes in, and I'm just feeling that it's my mission. So as long as I will not have accomplished this mission, I think I will keep going and try to prove that we can really do that.
Sandra, what is your superpower?
My superpower is that I don't have superpowers. I'm just realizing that right now. But I think my superpower is to think that I can have superpowers. But yeah, until I realize that I don't. But I'm a bit naive, and I think that helps a lot. That's kind of my superpower.
Yeah, yeah. Sandra, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Before you go, I wonder if you would just take a minute and tell people how they can learn more about Glowee and how they can connect with you personally.
Yeah, So you can find a lot of information on Glowee's website. If you want to have more day-to-day content, our Instagram account is showing a lot of great photos about bioluminescence and all the experience that we can have. And if you really want to get in, the capital is still open for investment. So you can go on their website and have all the information.
Fantastic. Well, Sandra, we wish you every success in lighting the world with bioluminescence.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Let's do some good.
Devin Thorpe's mission is to end extreme poverty, improve global health, and mitigate climate change before 2045 by finding and sharing the stories of those who are doing the most good.
Thanks for tuning in to the Your Mark on the World show, the Social Impact Podcast. Please subscribe via YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify.